I'll have to send it to you. I watched it today because I'm just a fan.
Yeah, for sure.
But anyways, you ready to knock into this thing, man?
Let's roll, baby.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the Jameson on the Rocks podcast. This is episode 56, I believe, and today we have Mr. Garrett Cardoso. How do you say your last name fully?
All right, it's Cardoso. So if you look at it, how it's spelled, you say it exactly how it's spelled.
Exactly
so you just got to sound it out and just.
I like it, man. I know you under the alias doso.jpeg, right?
Yeah. And you know what's funny? I recently just changed that.
No, you didn't.
Yeah, dude.
On
I actually.
Instagram?
Yeah. So like a week ago, I was thinking to myself, I'm like, all right. Yeah. I've had this for a little while. Doso is like just a part of my last name, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
and it's not necessarily like a nickname per se. Like none of my friends call me that or anything like that. I kind of made that just trying to have something real short. I always felt like a short little name for Instagram would always be good. So that's kind of what I came up with. But I kind of wanted to graduate. My website is just my full name, Garrett Cardoso. So I kind of wanted those two things to match now that I launched the website and everything. And
that's hilarious, dude. Because I've only known you as Doso until the warehouse. Because I was like, wait, your name is Garrett, right?
Yeah, and that's fun. And you're not the first person to tell me that. Like most people don't realize that my name is Garrett, and so until I meet them, of course. So
makes sense.
And I don't know, maybe I guess I kind of want people to know me just by my name. I guess I don't know.
I can't blame you for changing it over, man. There's nothing wrong with that. Well, let's go ahead and get into this thing. Let's see. How would we start? I'm excited about this because I've never had just like a photographer on before, honestly, and I love like photography in general. I'm a fan. Sure. I don't actively do it very much. But my mother was a photographer for a living for a while, so like I'm interested.
Yeah.
And it's nice because almost every guest I've had has been like either musician guest or just like a random friend, you know.
All right.
So I was looking forward to this week.
Yeah, totally throwing a wrench in the whole.
Yes, dude, I love it. I love it, man.
Cool.
I'm excited. So let's go ahead and get started on how'd you get to where you are, kind of like the origin story. What made you want to get into photography when you were a kid or whenever you did?
Yeah.
Like just how you got doing it, man.
If you remember a website called Tumblr.
Tumblr, yes.
Yes. For some reason in high school, I got latched onto that website. It was maybe because there's a girl that I was dating in high school, and she had one, and I just like thought it was kind of cool because all I saw on it was just pictures. It was just scrolling through all these cool pictures.
What a concept.
Yeah, I know, right? Kind of cool. Instagram's a thing, but I don't know. It just seemed to be a more like artistic way of doing Instagram at the time, and I don't know. For some reason, I just got like fascinated by all this different style of photography that I was, and just the artistic photography, you know what I mean?
What age is this? Like,
I'd say probably 15 or 16.
Okay,
so early high school,
sophomore.
Probably sophomore year of high school. That's
really
when
early.
I kind of started to like appreciate it, if that makes sense, and start to like, I guess, develop some taste.
Yeah.
But I didn't really pick up a camera until I was in college, so probably 19 years old.
It's a good gap there.
Yeah, for sure. And I don't really know why it took me that long to like get into it. It just wasn't ever. I don't know. Maybe it just wasn't on my head at the time in high school. I was just preoccupied with trying to be cool in high school and stuff like that.
As we all were. As we all were.
Right. So, but my mom also, she had a camera at the time, old DSLR Canon, and she liked to take pictures of birds in the backyard.
Nice.
And I'm a car guy myself also. And so I picked up her camera one day and I just started taking pictures of cars at like car shows and stuff.
Sick, man.
Yeah. So I guess that's kind of where I like picked up my camera, and where the style that I started with was taking photos of cars.
Interesting. That's awesome, dude. You got a great origin story. That's
yeah,
beautifully summarized right there.
I guess. I mean, yeah, it's I don't know. It's hard for like I've never really thought about that before. Like where I kind of like began until earlier today. I'm sitting at work. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna have to think about this.
Yeah, what am I gonna say?
Right. No. So yeah, Tumblr definitely was a big influence on like developing my like not my eye for photography or composition, but more so I guess my taste in photography and like appreciating what a good photo looks like.
Interesting. So is this just photography, or do you like? This was kind of one of the things I want to talk about a good bit. Was like, how interested are you in videos as well? Because I find it kind of surprising that you're mainly just the photo guy right now. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because it seems like maybe per capita there's more videographers in town than photographers, which is interesting.
Yeah, I don't I mean I have a huge appreciation for music videos and movies and TV shows and all that kind of stuff. I don't know why it is that I've kind of stayed in the photography lane. And you know what? The music photography lane specifically, a lot of photographers end up doing, video work too, just to kind of do both. But I kind of like the idea of just being good at one thing.
I love that. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
And I can film stuff. Like I can use my camera and film clips and all that kind of stuff. I've just never really dove into the video editing side of things.
Yeah, interesting.
Pretty daunting.
It's quite the thing to dive into.
Totally.
Right?
Photo editing isn't nearly as difficult as that.
Really?
I think at least. Man, that's just because I've been doing it for a while. But
I don't know, man. I feel like when you see a good photo that's edited well, it's more obvious, maybe.
Sure. I mean, that could be it. Yeah, you tend to notice like more changes in a still photo. Yeah.
Because like even crappy videos make it out. You know what I'm saying? That's like
totally.
It's almost kind of trendy now. The whole like film cover or like the vintage look. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like bringing VHS cameras and stuff like that.
And it'll have the little like date in the bottom like they used to do. You know, it's so trendy right now.
Nostalgia is a very big trend right now. Film cameras, like film, like
this one.
Yeah.
This is my mother's from college.
Yep,
dusted it off. I've been shooting some shots with it.
I mean, I think it's pretty obvious that's pretty huge right now.
Yeah. Have you ever gotten to the film sphere? Or are you all digital?
No, I'm all digital right now. I definitely appreciate film, and I mean, I love a good film photo. Like I really do. 120 millimeter film, like medium format film. That stuff is just beautiful. But I don't know why I just haven't dedicated the time to figuring it out. I have some film cameras that I'm pretty sure work.
Yeah, that's sick, man.
But I just haven't ever ordered film.
Well, dude, like you're saying though, I'm a big fan of God. What's that quote? It's like a jack of all trades is a master of none. You ever heard that?
Yeah, totally.
I'm a big fan of being like just fucking laser focused on something, you know what I mean? Instead of like just okay at a bunch of things.
Right, and I'm pretty scatterbrained as it is, so like it's good for me to like try and narrow it down a little bit to like one thing. So you know, I don't know. I like I said, I like being known as a photographer, and I think that it's totally possible for me to excel as just a photographer in the music industry specifically. I feel like a lot of people
doing it, man. There's a little buzz going around about you. I've heard some people talking.
Hey, man, you know, I got to thank Cannon Rogers for this.
Oh yeah, good Cannon.
He hit me up for a show at the beginning or the end of the summer, probably in August of this year.
Okay.
40
Watt Club?
No, it was. Is it Normal Bar?
Yeah. Definitely.
He did a show there and with Elijah Johnson. And that was my first time shooting a show in Athens, to be honest.
Really?
I don't remember where it was that I met Ken. I think we just connected on Instagram, something like that.
That's crazy, dude. That's crazy because my first show I ever played in Athens was opening for Cannon.
Really?
Yeah, so we both started with Cannon here.
I know. He's
a nice
got
guy.
a hand in everything. He's a good dude. I love that kid.
Yeah, but, I remember when that was happening, though, because I did a podcast with Tommy Troutone, I think, and Elijah Johnson together in that same period of time, and they were saying something about you coming to shoot a show. Maybe it was 40 watts, so maybe it's a little bit after.
Yeah, I did, I think, a well-kept show that Elijah played at as well at 40 watt, and they also did a show at Smith's Old Bar in Atlanta.
You shot that as well?
Yeah, I did that as well. So I guess Elijah and Cannon really were the two guys that like really kind of
broke you in.
Yeah, broke me in, I guess, with the Athens Scene.
Good for them.
You know, brought me business and like keep bringing me business, and I love them for it.
That's great. But before that, were you shooting all Atlanta stuff? Were you shooting Atlanta bands?
Yeah.
Shooting...
Well, before that, we're talking pandemic time, so that I kind of had to like take a step back from, I guess, shows like as everybody did.
Yeah, pretty much.
And so I kind of focused on portrait photography for those kind of 2 years. So 2019 and 2020, I really was only doing portrait photos.
When you say portrait photos, you mean like weddings or like just people that want their picture taken?
Pretty much. Yeah, but I tried to narrow it down to musicians. You know what I mean?
Great.
So I was trying to like establish relationships with musicians, knowing that eventually concerts were going to come back, and I want to be a concert photographer.
So you're shooting like press photos and album shots and stuff.
Yeah, right. And
interesting.
And honestly, throughout that time, I was just hitting up as many people as I could.
Yeah, just DMing?
Yeah, that's
cold calling.
I've done a lot of that. To be
I respect
honest.
that,
man. I've done a lot of that, but it's generally works. Like I mean, you just have to show people that you care and like that you're really genuinely interested in working with them. And I try to, I want to work with musicians that I like their music, and I think that's a big thing. But
I think that's very important, man. That's kind of like the genesis, or not the genesis, but the the key of what you are. You know what I'm saying? Like
totally.
you're more than just the photos you send out. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like,
No, there's
still a cool hang and everything.
Well,
you know what I mean,
I'm a moments type of photographer. I think like I really like capturing like candid moments, and I think that's why I like concerts a lot, because there's a lot of that. You know what I mean? There's so many moving parts.
Perfect.
But I think with that, being a guy that stresses trying to capture moments, I think it's important to have a good relationship with the people that you're taking photos of.
Yeah, it's where it's not weird.
Right.
Like,
it's not weird. It's not awkward.
Yeah.
Like, and that, I mean, I just think that's really big. So I try to really stress trying to make a relationship with the people I work with, just so
that's
that
awesome, man.
You know, that they want to come back and shoot with
for
me
you,
again.
man. That's like next level shit. That's like long ball.
Well, you know, and you would think that would be common practice, just being a good person, I guess. But
it's not, is it?
Yeah, I don't know. Apparently not. I mean, I've definitely heard some horror stories from other people talking about photographers they've worked with. So.
Definitely, man. There's something about working with somebody you know and trust is different, which everybody knows, I suppose. But like when you're like, oh, he'll come, and you know, just a good backstage hang is worth it. You know what I'm saying?
Totally.
Like, and like just like. Somebody you don't know taking your picture is kind of weird sometimes.
Yeah,
you know?
I can imagine it is. I mean, I definitely would be uncomfortable in that position too. So, you know, even if I'm meeting with somebody for the first time, I think I really try and like
get a little dialogue
as
in there.
personable as I can.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah,
dude, hold on to that. That'll separate you. I love
that.
Right?
Yeah, and like with my portrait shoots, like I would meet up with them and we would just walk around for a little bit and talk and just shoot while we're walking around talking. And I just think that's
so important, man.
Great way to get some real genuine looking photos.
Yeah, dude. I kind of try to do the same thing here. Like, I never come straight in here with the guest, you know. Like, we'll sit there and talk at the table for a few minutes. Like, just like, let's just make sure everybody feels good. You know what I mean?
Totally.
Instead of just like, get on camera, say this. You know what I mean? Or exactly. But when you're moving along, when you're shooting portraits, is this like a whole different mindset than the moment shooting?
Honestly,
it's a little more posed?
Not really, because I even tell people when I'm doing a shoot with them, like, I'm not a huge fan of doing all these like real like crazy looking poses and stuff like that. Like, I just want a genuine looking photo, and usually that's just having somebody stand in front of me and just, hey, just put your hands in your pockets, or look that way, look that way, look that way, look that way. All right, we got it, and let's just move on.
That's nice, man.
I don't know. I mean, that may seem awkward to some people, but
I don't think so.
I don't know. I just think it
would seem more natural, I would think.
Right.
I've been to some bad photo shoots, like just like family, like Thanksgiving photo shoots. You know what I mean? It's just like, man, this is not fun. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like just being able to just like be you is great.
That's the key.
That's the key, right? Interesting. So when you're there's a little gap here. All right, so you start shooting in what year did you say?
So I would say probably, let's see, this is 2014, 2015 or so.
Okay, yeah, and you're in high school still?
That would be my first year of college.
Okay, what
I graduated Georgia College in Milledgeville. Yeah, so I originally, when I graduated high school, that's where I went to school. I did a year there, and I kind of had some like identity crisis stuff going on. Yeah, just kind of like, I don't know what the hell I'm doing, and I don't want to waste my time and money and all that kind of stuff. Like, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
Because I don't know. There isn't a major that I wanted to do. Like, there was nothing at the time where I was like, gosh, I really want to do that.
Yeah.
And so I was like, all right, what do I like? I'm a big car guy.
Yeah.
What can I do with cars? You can fix cars. You can go to tech school and get a degree to work on cars. So that's kind of, I was like, all right, I guess I could do that. So it's funny. I was sitting in like a philosophy class probably.
Oh, God.
And I was not paying attention, and I I wrote my parents a note, and I was like, hey, so I don't want to do this anymore, and I hope you guys respect my decision, but I have a plan. Yeah. And this is my plan. I'm going to go to tech school, and I'm going to get this degree, and then I'm going to start working on cars. And
That's
so
awesome,
I tried to pitch it to them in a way that they wouldn't be upset.
Hate you for it.
Yeah, so
that's smart, man.
They were very supportive. My parents have been extremely supportive.
That's priceless
me,
too,
so.
man. That helps a lot. You know what I'm saying? That's great. And what tech school did you end up going to? Trade school, kind
Lanier
of thing?
Tech, which is the campus that I went to is in Dawsonville, Georgia. I grew up in Forsyth County in Cumming, Georgia.
Yeah, I know where that is. Yeah.
Like Swanee, Johns Creek area.
I used to go there to record. It's good.
Yeah. So that's where I grew up. So Dawsonville is just about 20 minutes up the highway. So
and you did that for what, 2 years?
Yeah, so it was a 2-year like associate's degree.
Yeah.
And I already had my core classes done from GCSU, so it only took me like a year and a semester or so. So I did that, and at the time, photography is still kind of a hobby.
On the
still,
back end?
just kind of taking photos here and there, going to like car races and doing that kind of stuff. Still not something that I was even really thinking about doing. So committed to the tech school route, did that, and started working on cars at a little tire shop.
Yeah, dude, it's crazy that a lot of those tech school and like trade jobs, like you can do 2 years of it and come out making more than most people with the 4-year degree.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. Welding is one of those trades
like super
my
specialized.
stepbrother just finished welding school, and I mean he's about to start doing like contract welding, and you can make serious money doing that, because it's technically a dangerous job, so it's like a high risk thing. So there's like
kind of like the electrician, like Georgia Power stuff too. You know what I mean?
Right.
Which is interesting. Back to the photography thing though, when you were saying that, I was thinking it is easy. I'd say, I guess you can say this about anything though, but photography is one of those things that like almost everybody has as a hobby, right? Kind of.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Nowadays for sure.
Definitely.
Totally.
And like everybody has a camera laying around these days.
Right. I think so. I mean, that's like the film stuff. Everybody, I think a lot of people like using like disposable cameras and stuff, those little wind up cameras, and you can print physical photos, and that's kind of a dying thing these days. So it's cool that
fun,
people,
though.
Right. I think it's fun. I mean, and iPhones and stuff like, I mean, those cameras are getting
pretty solid, 4K.
Good,
you know what I mean?
Yeah. So I mean, you can do some really good stuff with those things. So yeah, I mean, I'd say definitely everybody's starting to become somewhat of a photographer these days.
That's interesting that you, like, everybody's a photographer and you still, that's what you want to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're like, all right, I want to make money. I don't want to just shoot pictures on my iPhone.
I also do. I know there's a difference between taking a photo on your iPhone and
what you do.
Right. Yeah.
Exactly.
There's definitely a difference in that. And yeah, sometimes you can take some crazy looking photos on your iPhone, but I think at the end of the day, when you're trying to make it a business and
you can't
take it to the next level, you got to step your game up a little bit.
But that's awesome. Sorry I cut you off a little bit.
No,
Continue
it's totally
with the story.
Fine.
I'm just
thoughts. I mean, no, I just kind of continued on that path of working on cars, and during that time, after I started in the workforce, or however you want to say that. My stepbrother, Sean, was going to school. His name's Sean Carruthers. He was going to school at Georgia. He was in the MBUS program.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and he was a musician himself at the time. He was doing some rap music under the name Sean C.
Sean C.
Yeah. But he was doing good at the time. Like, he played a show on the rooftop at one point. There was a ton of people there. It was pretty cool. He did some house shows at the time, and so. He was the first musician that I started taking photos of, and I put that in there. He was a musician. I shouldn't put that in there. That's mean. I'm sorry, Sean.
Love you, Sean.
No, so he's the first like musician that I stared taking photos of. I just happened to know how to use a camera at the time, and he started doing these shows, and I was like, dude, I want to come take some photos of you while you're doing that. And I'm a big music fan too, so like I appreciate music, good music, and concerts and all that kind of stuff. So. He kind of like gave me the opportunity to kind of practice with taking photos of shows and stuff like that. I mean, albeit house shows and whatever. I mean, I love that stuff. So he was the first guy that I really worked with, and I, started to think about like, all right,
maybe I want to do this.
Yeah, I think I kind of like doing this. And, I did some like press photos for him here and there, and did the studio hangs, getting photos of him and his producer Steve doing their thing in the studio. So that's where I got my taste of like, wow, this is kind of cool. I really like doing this.
And what were you thinking in those first couple shows and sessions? Was there any like key moments where it's like, oh, shouldn't do that, or oh, this looks great, this doesn't, or anything in particular?
Not necessarily. I was just kind of just trying, like shooting, and I wasn't worried about whether or not it looked like really cool or really professional looking or anything like that. I was just taking some photos, and I was dabbling with the editing stuff and trying to learn the editing software.
Totally.
At that time, when it started to become more of like a more than a little bit of a hobby, it started to become important to me.
Yeah.
I got real deep into like the theory of photography, like exposure,
photography.
How to like expose your camera properly, and
aperture and stuff like that.
Right, the exposure triangle. I like printed out a bunch of like diagrams and shit to try and like really get an understanding of like how those things work and how do I want to use my camera properly.
Yeah.
So
I was gonna ask you about that. That's on my to-do list on here, is aperture and like exposure stuff. Which
YouTube, man, that's where I learned pretty much everything I know how to do on a camera, aside from like practicing and everything. You know what I mean?
From actually doing it.
Yeah,
that's one thing I really do love about photography is like it's easy to get lost in it, kind of like when I walk around. Like I just walk around campus with this guy one day with like a roll. You got like 30 shots.
Yep.
I just shoot the whole thing, just like walking around. You know what I'm saying? Like you can just get lost in it for a minute. Totally. It's great. Yeah, it's like cutting grass or something.
Yeah, I know. You kind of focus in and, you know, you're seeing things a little bit differently than just like glancing at stuff.
Is that a state you're trying to get into when you're shooting a show? Are you trying to get lost in it? Or are you more like, oh, I know exactly what shots I want to get with the exact exposure. Let me try to get that. Or is it more loose?
So generally, I don't think too much about it beforehand. I do like to just kind of like get in the zone when I'm doing a show. Like
that's great.
It just kind of like happens.
Yeah.
You know, I just start kind of doing it. And
I love that, man.
Honestly, that's really how I did it. Like I just start shooting and I start taking photos, and I over time, I guess I've started to get better at being in the right place at the right time, and I guess, you know, trying to. I do watch the musicians as they're playing and try to think about like, all right, he's starting to do that. He's a little more interactive than the other guy. Like I probably need to focus on him a little bit more, or, you know, I try to notice things as the show goes on, and I keep mental notes and stuff like that. But
so like as you're shooting, you're like, okay, this is what I need to do next. It's very natural.
Yeah, I'll make like adjustments on the fly of like, all right, maybe this isn't like a good spot to stand, or like I probably need to find a different place to be right now. Like. You know, I'll realize that I'm on the wrong side of the stage when like the solo is happening on the complete opposite side. I'm like, oh shit, I just missed that. So like, I need to be in a different spot
for the next one.
Yeah, exactly. So
that's so interesting, man. Because the artist is trying to do the same thing. You know what I mean? Get in that flow state, which is what we're trying to do here. You know what I mean? Like. Just anything, like just getting into that thoughtless, like, oh, I know what to do next without thinking about it stage is really important, I think.
Yeah.
Have you ever had any trouble getting into it, or is it?
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, sometimes it's kind of difficult if you're trying to navigate, like if there's a decent sized crowd and there's no photo pit, and you're like trying to figure out how am I going to get even close to the front of the stage right now. And most of the time people don't want to get out of your way. Like even if they see you with a camera, they don't give a damn. They're not getting out of the way at all. And I've definitely had some stare downs with some people.
Some posters?
Yeah, some people get a little upset that I am standing there trying to get a picture. But hey, the artist's paying me to be there, so like kind of sorry.
Yeah, can't care what the people think.
Right. So I don't know. It can be difficult sometimes trying to navigate the crowd, and also like you know, sometimes if you don't have like an all access pass at some venues, then you can't go to certain spots. So like you can be limited sometimes as far as like what kind of shots you can get.
Interesting. And are you trying to shoot? I'm assuming you're trying to shoot kind of everywhere, I guess. But like you love to be on the stage as well, though, right?
Yeah. So
that helps.
That honestly is my favorite place to be when I'm doing a show, is on the stage with the band, because I think you get a better perspective that way. Like, it's great to be right up in the front and everything and try and get the action, the front man and all that kind of stuff. But, you know, musicians move around. It's a fluid situation. So like, I feel like it's kind of limiting to just stay in the front of the show the whole time. You know what I mean? So I like being like behind the drummer, or like, you know, trying to shoot through the drum kit to get these like weird like light reflections and stuff like that. So like that, I don't know. I mean,
there were some really great ones at the warehouse where like it'd be like you from the left side and me in the center, and then like an orange light just off the right side. It was so sick.
So and that kind of stuff is just, I feel it out. I just kind of I know at this point, like drum kits, they're reflective. So like if there's good lights, there's gonna be some cool reflections on those. But sometimes like even like amps and stuff, like there could be like a little metal like screw on the top of the amp, and it gives you, if you look right through it, it'll give you this cool little like weird light reflection. Sometimes I don't know, it's just cool, and you don't get that in front of the like.
Damn, dude, that's crazy,
stage,
bro.
You know
I never would have thought of something like that. You're shooting off little reflections off the drum kit.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm not gonna say I like thought of that myself or anything. I mean, I know some people that definitely do that, and I love that. So like, I'm definitely trying to take pointers from people and like try and figure out how they did that. And
yeah, that'd be another question I had for you was, do you have any favorite like photographers that like influenced you, kind of sort of stuff?
So Josiah Van Dien is one. He is currently Shawn Mendes's photographer.
Okay. How do you spell that? Or what was that again?
Josiah Van Dien.
All right, cool. I got it. I'm gonna look these guys up.
Yeah, he's Shawn Mendes' photographer. He's been with him since kind of the beginning of Shawn Mendes. Like when he was 15, he started working with him. So like, and he's the only photographer that's been with him the whole time. Like
that's a ride, man.
Touring with him and you know all that kind of stuff. So like, I think that's awesome.
That's so sick.
Being with one artist for that long,
crazy.
and that you get this huge catalog of crazy moments from one person's eye. You know, it's really cool. But he was in the metalcore scene before that, and I'm a big when I was in high school and college, I was a big fan of like metalcore. I still am. Yeah. But he worked with a bunch of bands that I was a fan of back then too. So that's how I knew him from the beginning.
Very cool.
As he got into like the bigger artists, I started to really appreciate his work and what he's doing. Another guy is Matty Vogel. He's a big time photographer. That's a guy that's verified on Instagram.
He's been heard before.
Yeah, definitely. No, but he's works with another huge artist. He's a Billie Eilish's photographer.
Wow.
But he's worked with a whole bunch of other types of people too, like All Time Low and other bands like that.
Yeah.
But and then I guess one other guy, if I'm going to name a third, Joshua Haling. He's a British photographer. He shoots for a guy named Tom Misch. And a band named Neck Deep.
Neck Deep, I've heard of them. Pop punk.
Right.
They make pop punk,
Yeah,
right?
he shoots for them. He actually played bass for them for a tour, which is kind of weird. I'm not sure how that happened, but all three of those guys are people that I've been looking at their work for years and years and years, and I just like Josiah is really big on black and white, so and I'm a big fan of black and white stuff. I think he's the king of doing black and white stuff.
Yeah, that was my next question. Was like, what is it about him? I know it's kind of hard to articulate, but like, what is it about the way they shoot or the black and white that you did?
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
I mean, I could tell you honestly, for those three guys, Josiah, I think his big thing's black and white, and I love his black and white stuff. But also, I mean, just his eye for composition and everything is just incredible. All three of them have incredible vision, but Josiah, I think his strong suit is black and white stuff. Joshua Haling, he's really good with just I don't know, just kind of making that film look almost like the grainy. Film kind of colors and all that kind of stuff. And then Matty Vogel is he's really his photos are really vibrant and huge. Like he shoots for Billie Eilish, so they're in arenas and shit like that. So like he gets those crazy like massive arena wide shots and like with all the pyro and stuff going on. Like his work is just massive looking. Just like a crazy good like produced song that just sounds huge. You know what massive, I mean? Like that's when I see his work, it feels like you can feel that atmosphere, that huge atmosphere that he's taking.
That's hard to describe, but you did a good job at it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
It's just little stuff like that, just like being.
Like you can just see it and know it's him, kind of.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, totally.
Interesting. See, I've watched a few. Like I'm interested in photography, so I'm having a blast right now.
Yeah.
So I've watched a few like documentaries about like 80s and 90s like concert photographers. Like, have you ever heard of Neil Slaughter or Neil Slaws? He's like a famous 80s film photographer. Cool. Like pretty much any picture you've seen of like Guns N' Roses and Van Halen and all those bands, that was him.
Yeah.
But what they talked about most of the documentary was like his eye for the shot. So do you have anything to say about that? Like, what's the importance of like every film documentary I've seen has been like, he's got such a great eye for shooting. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely, it's hard to explain that. Yeah. Though. Like, it really is because, there's a shitload of really good photographers out there that are successful and like, it's kind of, they all have a good eye, but like some, you can tell some people just kind of like their work just kind of there's just subtle things about their work that just stands out. It's just the way they compose pictures or composition is a huge thing. I mean, it's just literally just framing in your photo, but
that's crazy, man. See, I wish I could put my finger on it.
Dude, it's really all about at concerts. It's all about being in the right place at the right time.
Yeah, I could see that being.
It really is, and obviously your ability to capture that moment while you're there in the right spot is huge too. Like, you can just sit there and snap away, and maybe you'll get something good, or like I don't know. It's just. I think the biggest thing for concerts is just being in the right place at the right time.
That makes a lot of sense, you know what I mean? And just having it pointed in the correct direction, right?
And I think when you shoot more with a certain artist, you start to like see their habits on stage and the way they exactly. And the high points and low points.
This is going to be a moment. This is going to be a moment.
Right, and that's the best part about going on a tour with somebody is that you get to work with them over weeks at a time. And so like And after you get in with a couple of shows, you start to like really recognize patterns. And
yeah, so is that kind of like the ideal thing for you, is to like be on tour with the artists? I know you've done a couple from what I've seen on Instagram.
Yeah, I did.
Tell me about that a little bit.
I did a weekender recently with Hotel Fiction. That was
That's
awesome.
Sick. I remember that. Was it Jacksonville or Florida?
So it was Gainesville, Jacksonville, and Orlando.
God, they're killing it right now. I saw them the other night downtown. I was like, you guys are murdering it. Good for you guys.
They're killing it. They're going to be huge one day.
They are, man. Is this the one where I believe it was them on the back of a van? Did you shoot this? Okay, cool. Yeah, these are sick, man.
Yep. I was cool just being able to hang out with them for the weekend and just take photos of them all weekend.
So how does something like that work? They hit you up like, yo, we want you to come with us this weekend, or is it like, yo, do you need somebody this weekend? Or
so that specific connection with them, I of course just being in Athens and seeing all the different people in Athens, I've heard of them before, and I've been told like you got to go to one of their shows, you got to go shoot one of their shows, and they played a show with Flip Turn at the Masquerade in Atlanta earlier this year. I forget what month it was, maybe September or so. And I just did my cold call, so to speak, and I DM'd I DM'd Carla, who is their manager. I think I DM'd their artist page, and she responded and sent me her phone number or something like that.
Gotcha.
And I got a photo pass for that, and I didn't charge them for it or anything like that. I just wanted to come out and shoot the show. So I did that, and they really loved the photos that I took, and so they kept that in mind, so to speak, until the weekend trip came up, and Carla hit me up and was like, "Hey, we'd love for you to come out.
That's
the girls
awesome.
loved your photos. We'd love for you to come out."
And you guys had met already?
Yeah. So I didn't meet the girls when I was at the show because I had to do my classic Irish goodbye at that show. I dipped out like pretty quickly after they finished because I had to work the next day. So so I didn't get to meet them then, but I met Carla, their manager. So I established a connection with her and a relationship, or I got her phone number. We talked a little bit, and so I told her before I left, I was like, "Hey, I would love to do this again." So she, thankfully hit me up again, and
dude, that's pretty wild. It's pretty bold to be like, "Yo, photographer, this only shot us once. You want to go on the road?" You know what I mean?
I know. I mean, I guess that speaks for
your work, man. Good for you, man. And you going out there and doing it for free, that speaks volumes. You know what I mean?
You got to do that sometimes.
Yeah.
Like that's just part of being a concert photographer. I mean, just to get people to see your work, you've got to do free stuff. I mean, it's
and what better way to do it than like show them like, okay, this is what it's going to look like.
Yeah,
it's like, holy
totally.
shit,
Honestly, that's the best way to get in with an artist, is to shoot one of their shows for free, and then hopefully they see the photos and they like them enough to hit you up.
That's awesome, dude.
So, but
smart.
Before that tour, or before that weekend trip, I did a 16-day run with this band called The Villa. Yeah, it's a newer kind of rock band.
Look them up.
Yeah, it's comprised of a bunch of members of former metalcore bands, bands like Issues and Woe Is Me, and a couple other bands. But so they're pretty well established in that kind of metalcore scene as musicians from other bands, and so they started this new project called The Villa, and I had become friends with some of the guys in the band over the last few years, just here and there, just long stories to get into how I know these guys specifically, but I had met some of the guys in this band a few years ago before the project started, and kind of established a relationship with them on some other projects that they were working on. Yeah. And so once the Villa started, and they kind of picked up some steam over the pandemic, they got on a record label, and
good for them. Good for them.
They were able to book this little tour that they did earlier in the year. So that was my first.
That's a little tour. That's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good tour for sure. Definitely, especially for my first one. It was probably a good thing that I wasn't going to be gone for like 2 months, because I feel like that would have been like a shock to the system probably, but that was an awesome experience. I got to go to a bunch of cities that I had never ever been to before.
That's awesome, man.
And got to live that like van life, what I mean?
Yeah. And you were with them in the van the whole time.
Yeah. Slept in the van. I don't say we had 3 hotel rooms along the way, and then we had one show that was in Atlanta, so we stayed at home for one night.
That's fascinating.
But there were some nights where we did the whole truck stop, sleep in the van type thing.
That's classic, man.
being not a member of the band, I didn't get a bench. So I slept in the front seat and just leaned my seat back every night. And I ended up figuring out that I could lay across the 2 front seats. And that was like, I put a bunch of bags under the middle so that it was like kind of like a makeshift bed. Yeah.
I know that exact feeling. Yeah, just like, how can I sleep in here? You know what I mean?
The van life is kind of interesting.
Everybody makes it seem real fun, but it's tough out there, isn't it?
I mean, it's fun as fuck.
It is. You're right.
It's fun as fuck. It doesn't matter what. I mean, to me, having never done that before, I'd fucking enjoyed every second.
I believe it, man.
I mean, it's not like everybody was making a shitload of money or
That's
anything.
what I'm saying.
Like,
that's what I was wondering about, was the logistics of it, like bringing you out, saying, I don't know how much you're making per night, you know what I mean? Certain amount. And then you've got to eat all day, you know what I'm saying? You got gas.
Yeah.
Like, I just wondered how realistic it was. So it seems like you're doing it.
We dealt with a few unfortunate financial situations on that tour, but like, so a lot of it came out of our pockets. And I don't need to really like explain that too much, but like the tour support that we were supposed to have, we got some of it, not all of it. So like it was enough for us to pay for gas the whole way, so at least we didn't have to pay for gas the whole time. But we were paying out of pocket for food and stuff like that. So I mean, it was one of those things where like, I was making money, but I was also spending money the whole time. A lot of it. So but the way I see it is that was an important thing for me to do, because that got my feet wet in the touring game, and like I understand how that works. And
I'm sure you learned a ton.
Yeah, totally,
a ton,
absolutely. Totally. So that experience alone was very important to me, and I got to go with some of my friends too. So it wasn't like a band that I had just met or anything like that. So it was a trip with friends, and we did a bunch of shows the whole time, and just got to hang out. And
I bet you had a blast, man.
Yeah, dude, it was a lot of fun. It was an East Coast run, so we didn't go out west or anything like that. But I mean, Chicago, New York.
Oh, dude, that's wicked, bro. So when you're on this tour, you're sleeping and all this kind of stuff. Are you kind of like doing the math on like, what does this need to do to one day be, I hate to say like sustainable, but like obviously I guess the name of the game is you do these tours with these bands and grow your, you know what I mean, like your size bands you're playing with per se.
Yeah, totally. I mean, the goal eventually is to be able to raise my rates to make a handsome living, of course.
Yes,
but I mean, no photographer is a millionaire. I mean, if there are, it's very few and far between. You don't do this to make a fuckload of money.
You do it because you love it, right?
Exactly. And so like, at the end of the day, I just want to be able to make enough money to comfortably live and pay all my bills and still have enough money to like take a vacation once a year or something like that.
Well, it seems like you really enjoy it, so that's just a good sign in general. I see I follow you on Instagram and everything. A lot of your posts are just great shots. It's like, wow, this guy's really living this.
I appreciate it.
I appreciate you living it. You know what I mean? Like, it seems like you really enjoy it, which is a great sign.
It's a blast. I never thought I would get into something like this. So like it's just so cool to just be a part of like the music industry. But
you're
like,
part of it. You're part of it.
But also like, I don't play any music, but I'm at least like get to be involved in everything. And I think that's a really cool thing that not a lot of people get to do. You know what I mean?
Dude. And like, you're in it more than you know, because I've heard people talking about you for real now around town.
That's
actually
awesome to hear.
A week or two, I was at AFTM at Silver Dollar. Yeah. And I know you just shot them at the Easter, but they were talking about it. They were like, I was like asking about the show. Like, we got this great photographer, man. His name's Garrett Cardoso or something. And I was like, I know him. You guys made the right choice.
That was a fucking awesome show.
I bet that was sick. Wasn't it?
That was cool, man. I had been. It was at the Eastern in Atlanta, and I had seen Leon Bridges there like a month or two before that. So, and at the time, like the AFTM show wasn't even a thing yet that I had known about. So I didn't even know I was going to be able to shoot there. I was telling my girlfriend while we were at the show, I was like wigging out about how cool the lights were, and I was like, damn, I would love to fucking shoot you. Yeah. And then finally, like so that's another one of those situations where I just reached out to them.
Really? You DM'd them?
Dude, I'm a fan of Moon Taxi, and that's who they opened up for. And so I saw Moon Taxi was doing 2 shows there. It ended up only being 1, but they did I saw that they were going to play a show there, and I saw that AFTM was opening for them. And I knew of AFTM because of the Athens Scene, and I was like, all right, let's see if we can get this show. So I reached out to the AFTM guys, and then Forrest hit me up and was like, hey man, we saw your work, we'd love to have you come out. And so it was just as simple as that.
That's awesome, dude.
Hey, I'd love to shoot that show. And then Forrest came out and was like, hey, man, love your work. That'd be great. What are your rates? And
that's sick, dude. See,
that's the best thing to hear.
It, man.
The best thing to hear as a photographer is, would love to have you come out. What are your rates? That's what's up.
You love that, man.
Big respect right off the bat. But no, it was awesome. That was a great experience. That venue is crazy, dude. It's brand new, so it's massive.
Yeah, so see, I'd never even heard of it, so it's pretty new, right?
Yeah, I think they literally just opened like in August or something.
So this is another thing I was wondering is like when I'm guessing so just from the way you talked about the Eastern, when you like go to venues and stuff, are you just like, because like when I go to venues as a musician, I'm like, God, I would just fucking kill to play here. Does it feel that same kind of way? You're just like, fuck, I would love to shoot a band here. Or is it like, the lights suck, I don't really want to shoot here?
Nowadays, 100%.
Yeah?
Totally. I mean, before I got into the music photography stuff, I just like appreciated concerts and just loved going to concerts. And I always thought it was cool that there was people there taking photos and stuff. But like nowadays, every time I go to I haven't been going to a ton of shows for fun just because I'm fucking doing it.
Busy?
Yeah, busy. Yeah. But whenever I do go to a show for fun, definitely nowadays I'm like
scouting it out.
I'm like viewing the show like as if I'm taking photos.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah. No, I just like if I start seeing smoke coming down, I just get all excited. I'm like, oh, there's smoke and the lights are gonna look so cool. Yeah, no, I just get excited every time I see a good light show.
Dude, that's a great side. Honestly, like the way you talk about photography is like exactly how I feel about music. So I just know it's right because I fucking love music. I know you love photography.
I just get so I've literally could talk about it all day long.
I just get
so excited talking about like possibilities and like, man, wouldn't it be so cool to shoot this venue, or wouldn't it be so cool to shoot with this band? Or
do you have any bucket list venues?
Tabernacle for sure in Atlanta because that's my favorite venue.
Which
and I've
room?
seen Tabernacle is just the main. That's the one that's right by the Ferris wheel in downtown Atlanta.
Oh, I'm thinking Masquerade. Masquerade is the one with a couple rooms, right?
And I've shot there a bunch of times. Yeah. I haven't shot at the biggest stage, at the Heaven stage, but I've shot Hell and Purgatory before. Yeah. But Tabernacle in Atlanta is one that I just love that venue. I've seen so many good shows there. It's like a 3,000 cap venue. It's a Live Nation venue. I think there's like 3 or 4 levels to it or whatever, but great venue. Sounds amazing in there. I've seen some incredible shows there. So I would love to shoot there one day just for the like I did it. I got to shoot the Tabernacle type of thing. It's funny, Wanderwild, Tommy's band that he's in with Matt Martin, they just opened up for Coin there like last weekend, and I just thought that was so fucking cool, man.
Yeah,
they were all like posting about like, I can't believe I'm doing a show at Tabernacle. I'm like, man, I fucking wish I was there.
Such a great feeling.
Yeah, dude. I just think it's cool. Like that's another thing that I love about Athens, man. Is like everybody's so excited about doing what they're doing, and so like it's so cool to see people taking those like next steps, like. Tommy just getting to do that show, like I'm like so pumped for them. Like, and I know most everybody here on like a surface level. Like, I mean, I've hung out with everybody a few times, so I wouldn't say I'm like super great friends with everybody, but like it's still cool to see all these people that I'm like,
just like regular
associated
guys.
with to an extent, and it's just cool to see everybody do well and like take those next steps and
that's what I love about
play
Athens,
those big venues and stuff like that. Like, I don't know, it's cool to be a part of a music scene in general. Honestly.
Yeah, and you are, man, more than you know. I think everybody's kind of aware at you this point. I think for me at least, I was becoming aware around that Elijah like Canon era. But once you started doing the Hotel Fiction photos, like that run and stuff, I was like, oh, this is fucking sick. And I believe that's around when Jeff reached out about doing our show. And I was like, then you shot for us once. I was like, all right, this is our fucking guy right here. We're good. We're good. The search is over.
Yeah, man.
And so, dude, you're totally a part of it. And that's one thing that I like about Athens is the scene is just small enough to where you can kind of know everybody. You know what I mean? Like the Atlanta scene to me is a little more frightening per se of like
I agree 100%.
Massive, right? You know what I mean?
100%. I was just talking about somebody about that last night. I was at a show in Atlanta at the Vinyl.
Sick.
Which
Center
is kind
Stage?
Of, right? Center Stage, yeah. And there's a guy I was talking to about that. I was like, yeah, I love Athens because it's kind of a tight-knit community. And like, I've tried to dip my feet into Atlanta, but it's so massive and there's so many people and it's like hard. Like, I don't even know who to talk to. Like, it's, I know a few different people in Atlanta that I've shot for before, but like, not nearly as much as Athens.
Yeah, it's like totally frightening in a way, like just like so big that like you could expand on it as long as you want and like never know every band, but like been in Athens for 4 years and I don't That's not fair to say, but I feel like I know every band at this point. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
at least the ones that are playing a lot.
I'm definitely starting to like.
Yeah, and see the faces and know them and
for
that
sure.
kind of
I'm
stuff.
starting to recognize people at shows. Like every time I go to 40 Watt, I start to see like the same people there, and like to the point where there's one guy that came up to me at 40 Watts. I don't know who he was, some drunk guy. He just came up to me. He's like, I saw you here like a week ago doing this, and I was like, yeah, good to see you too, man.
Oh shit!
So, yeah, I mean,
you've been planting the roots.
I definitely, I'm starting to like, see the same people at shows, dude. And I don't know, it's a cool, it's a very welcoming community too, I think.
I think so too.
Like everybody is so nice. And
so nice, man.
There's no judgment from anybody, I feel like everybody is so supportive and nice. That's
all
the best
kind of musics are accepted. Anybody doing their thing is accepted here, which I love about this town. I don't think many towns are quite like that.
Totally.
And your kind of thing though is it's kind of like this show, like I think eventually, this is my prediction for you, is that it's going to be like a thing to like have you as their photographer. Like everybody, like once you get 10 people on the podcast per se, every band in town wants to be on, just because like to be a part of it kind of. But now that you've shot like, I don't know, 6 or 7 or 8 bands, like it's going to start being a thing like, oh, I'll be able to get posted on Doso's page when he takes these 6 pictures. I'll get to tag you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I sure hope so.
Yeah, it'd be great, wouldn't it?
Yeah, 100%. I would love that.
That's kind of the plan.
I mean, that's best case scenario to me, I think, is, being the guy that everybody thinks to call first when they have a show. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I strive to do.
I love that, man.
And I definitely feel like I'm getting there for sure. I mean, Drew Beskin is another guy. I love
Drew. Drew is great.
He's a great dude.
Have you met him?
Yeah, dude. I've shot a few of his shows.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I have. And he actually texted me this morning to do the Hefner show that's at Flickr next week, but I'm going to be out with somebody. But so yeah. Anyways, I've shot with him a few times, and he's a great guy too. He's
so talented.
Extremely. So I don't know. Everybody here's been great to me.
That's awesome, man. Well, just keep doing your thing. I really hope that this episode, because like I feel like to most of the people that listen to this show is at least music fans, and I'd say a lot of musicians. You know what I mean? Just kind of trying to learn from other musicians. So like hopefully we got a lot of people hearing this when this comes out in a couple weeks. Yeah. And they'll be able to hit you up, which is kind of the goal. It was kind of like a win-win to have you in here.
Dude,
so
I agree with that 100%.
Yeah.
I was super stoked when you asked me
Yeah,
to
dude,
come
I'm super stoked now.
I'm just happy to be here. I really am. It's cool. I mean, like I said to you before we started, I'm like a huge fan of podcasts in general. I listen to them all day when I'm at work, my headphones and stuff. So it's like cool to be on the other side of it.
Yeah, how you like it so far?
It's cool. I like
Doesn't
it.
Feel nice?
Yeah, I'm not near. Dude, I was thinking I was gonna get nervous, but I definitely didn't. So
it's just chilling, man.
Yeah,
it's just like literally like if we were sitting in there talking on the couch just with microphones.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Which I love.
Right.
Let me keep moving. I have a few more questions for you. We're making good time. Let's see. I wrote a few down because I wanted to be ready. What would your dream gig opportunity be? Actually, this was Jeff wanted to know this. Your dream gig opportunity as a photographer. What's the plan?
I thought about this today as well.
Love it.
For some reason I had a feeling this might come up, so I was like, all right. Perfect. Like, who do I want to shoot for the most? And so I Midland, the country brand. I fucking love those guys.
They come to the theater sometimes, don't they?
Yeah, they do. Yeah. Actually, I saw them at the theater.
A couple years ago,
2018 or 2019, before all the shit kicked off. Yeah, actually, I'm pretty sure it was like 2 weeks before. It was in March of 2019.
I remember when they were there in March.
Yeah, that was an awesome show. I love their whole like vibe, look and everything. That like aesthetic. Vintage, like country western, like Texas country kind of thing. Yes. So I would love to do like some shoots with them. I would love to go on tour with them. I just think it would be so much fun. I mean, my favorite artist of all time was Mac Miller, of course. Word. So like, rest in peace.
Rest in peace.
Yeah, dude, that would have been. If I ever was able to take a photo of him, that would have been like
just crazy,
insane.
He photographed so well too.
Oh yeah, I know,
so well
for sure. And his photographer that he used, Justin Boyd, that guy is really good as well. He still posts photos of him all the time. It's really cool.
That's awesome.
I don't know. I wrote him down on my phone, but I want to be that guy that goes and looks at it.
Look at it, bro. I guess maybe the question is less of who, more of like what about it would be your dream gig, if you get what I mean.
Yeah. So specifically with Midland, it's just their look. You know what I mean? Getting to like capture their look in my eyes, you know what I mean?
Yes.
And I feel like those guys know how to work a camera. Like if you ever see all the photos that they post, like they look cool as fuck.
They do.
So like, I don't know, getting to work with some guys like that, they're the shit, and like they have their look down, and like they don't have to try to like be cool and all that kind of like just that would,
I know exactly
it would
what you're
make my
talking
job easy, but also it would be a great challenge to work with somebody like that to try and like accentuate their look that they already have, you know what I mean? Try and put my spin on it.
That's a deep thought there.
I think that would be so cool.
That'd be sick. Have you ever heard of Athens band called Grandville?
Yeah, and you know what? Might have something coming up,
dude, because they play a couple Midland songs. They give me that kind of vibe in a different way. They're a little more like country EagleZ.
Yep.
And they've been on the show. I think we talked about them one time, but I think they'd be a good shoot for you. Is what I'm saying. Yeah.
It's funny you mentioned that. I saw that you had them on recently, and I did my thing. I reached out.
Cold call.
I reached out.
I love it.
And I talked to their manager.
Jake Kinney.
Yep.
I just did an episode with him, too.
Yeah, he's such a nice guy.
So
I talked to him on the
nice.
phone for like 15 minutes, and we were just like vibing, dude.
I
He's
love
such
that
a nice guy.
He's so nice.
But yeah, we're hopefully going to make some stuff happen come up in the new year. So
they're killing it, so you should.
Same kind of deal with Midland. They have that like kind of classic like, I don't know. They got like cool like vintage look. You know what I mean? So
like jeans, like pleated jeans. Not pleated,
yeah, and
but
like,
you know what I mean?
They posted a photo of them in front of this like vintage, like old school like muscle car, and I was like, damn, that looks cool as fuck.
He fucking drives that thing around.
Does he
the
really?
lead singer,
That's his car?
lead singer pulled up here in that thing. I was like, you fucking kidding me?
Dude, that's gonna be great.
Yes,
yeah.
You should get up with them.
Yeah,
you guys should do a
hopefully
press
I
shoot.
can make some stuff happen with them. But I don't know if I'm gonna name off another person that I would just die to work with. Justin Bieber.
That'd be sick, wouldn't it? Do you know Rory Kramer? Do you know him?
Yes, of course.
I'm a follower of him. I'm a fan of his.
I know that guy I know his work very well.
Yeah.
And but
I think he's a little more video, maybe.
Yeah, he does a lot of
video.
YouTube stuff too, like in short films and stuff like that. But no, I honestly, same kind of. It's like that same lane of Josiah Van Dien with Shawn Mendes. Like, I just think it would be so cool to work with somebody that's like that fucking huge.
Yes,
you know what I mean?
yes, and shoot their whole catalog would be interesting. 'Cause some of these guys are like around, like talking about shots like for the tour in advance. You know what I'm saying? For like years. Which can you imagine the growth? Like shoot somebody for years.
Or to me, it's like being able to be like a fly on the wall while they're like recording their next fucking platinum fucking record that's about to come out and shit. Like it just would be so cool to be in the room and be able to capture those moments of them like doing their thing. So
that's something I never thought about, man. I've never thought about hiring a photographer for studio sessions.
Yeah, that's a thought. I love that stuff too. I mean, it's just like I said, moments. You know what I mean? There's plenty of that in the studio, like, and I also just enjoy being around that creative process.
Totally. So it's a win-win for you, kind of.
Yeah, totally. It's
interesting. I might have to holler you about that. That's a great idea because, like, I've never thought about even bringing a photographer into the studio.
Well, and that's another thing that nobody gets to do that unless you're a producer or in the band. So, like, to be able to like be there in that moment, you almost feel like you're not supposed to be there, but it's like you get to capture those really intimate moments that like you see during the creative process. You know what I mean?
And it comes out in the studio.
The frustration and like just the laughs and all the bullshit that you talk the whole time. Like it's just, I don't know. That's a fun experience to be in the room.
I love the idea of that because like every time I've been in the studio, like it'll flare out some emotions in you that you didn't think you have. You know what I mean?
Dude.
So if next time we're in the studio, I got you.
Dude, I would love to. That would be awesome.
That's a great idea, dude. See, I'm like, this is a revelation for me because like I'm a pretty big fan of like cataloging things. I've told you this. Like I try to film everything, even with this little shitty camera. Like everything. Like when we're in the studio, I'll set it up in the corner, just turn it on and film for 3 hours. You know what I mean? Just so I have it. But like to catalog things nice is what we're bringing you in for per se, personally. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah. Just I mean to get something that's a little bit nicer than a iPhone shot or something like that. Just something that you can look back on that's like kind of timeless. You know what I mean?
Yes, and it's like I hate to say that it's like if you have a concert and you don't get a good picture, like did it happen? But that's kind of what it feels like sometimes, man.
Sure,
you know what I mean?
Totally. I agree. I mean, and it's always great to have people there taking videos of your shows and stuff. But like, I don't know. I mean, there's good like some of the photos that we got at the warehouse. I mean, there's some good like just epic looking moments, you know what I mean, of like Bryce doing his like guitar up in the air and shit. It's
the
like,
mic swing one is incredible.
Dude, honestly, man, that's like one of my favorite photos I've ever taken.
I love that, man.
Because there's so much chaos going on, and he's
just
fucking whipping the mic around. That's such a cool photo.
Right past that guy's face.
Yeah, man.
I was thinking about putting it in this frame because I want to frame that one.
I would love to see that.
Dude, when I frame it, I'll send it to you because my mom's got a super nice printer I could do it on.
That would be great.
But yes, man. I like everything about the way you shot the warehouse show was just fantastic. Like you and Jeff and Trev were like sliding all around back there and all on the side, and it was just great.
That was fun to be a part of, like a team of people trying to capture that. So
we captured the shit out of that one.
Oh yeah, I'm excited to see a lot of the video footage.
Oh, it's coming. That's coming, and I've got a lot of your pictures. Like they're so good, I don't want to just post them. Do you know what I'm saying?
Sure. No. You want to save them for like something. Important.
Like I've got the kick. We did Smith's Old Bar, and you tell the story. And Smith's Old Bar downstairs, no disrespect, is probably one of the worst lighted venues I've ever seen. Yep. Just absolutely awful.
I want to start a petition to get them to fucking do something about that.
They just fixed the upstairs.
Right, so they got to have some extra shit laying around, right?
That's what I'm saying. Take the stuff you took off downstairs and bring it down. Mm-hmm. But anyways, we're at Smith's Old Bar. Jeff, this is where Jeff brought you in. I didn't realize it was you until you got there. I was like, oh, this is the guy that I've seen shooting Canon and everybody. Mm-hmm. But we played Smith's Old Bar, and just some of this, I won't say I wasn't hopeful, but I was like, this light just sucks. You know what I mean? And the shots you got are just fucking killer, man. Yep. They're great.
I mean, the concerns that you had, I also
had. The same ones?
Trust me. Every time I go in there and shoot, I'm shooting one of my really good buddies, Paul Whitaker. He's playing there this weekend. Mm-hmm. So but I've shot there enough now to where I kind of know. I can work with it at this point. But every time I get a show there, I think to myself, I'm like, fuck, man, this is like
I'm gonna have to work.
This is kind of difficult. Like it's a lot of pressure when you shoot at a venue that doesn't have the best lighting because like you're just worried the whole time that you're gonna not get a good shot.
I could see that. Is that like the kind of, I hate to say downside, but like as an artist, I worry about like people not coming to the shows. But like for you, would it be like you're worried, be like, oh, what if none of these come out good? Kind of.
Yeah, and I mean you can fix that by using a flash, but like I personally just don't really use flash.
Is there
at
a reason
concerts.
for that?
Not necessarily. I mean, I think Kyler Volmer, I can't remember what his last name. There's a guy named Kyler that does a lot of film stuff for like Elijah and Tommy and all of them.
Is his name on Instagram Pixby?
Yeah.
Okay, I know him.
He is great with the film stuff, and he uses flash a lot at his shows, and he's like a master at doing that. And I think he does it very, very well. So I think that there's definitely like a lane for flash at shows and everything. I've been told by some bands that they don't like flash at shows because it's kind of distracting. Maybe. But personally, I just don't use it because I like trying to work with what I have lighting wise.
Yeah, naturally, kind of.
Yeah. And another thing to consider is Kyler uses film, so like that's a little bit different. You don't have the freedom to like blast your ISO up to get to like 2000 ISO and shoot with low light and all that stuff. I have a Sony A7 III, and those things are great with low light and everything. So like that's kind of what it's built for, you know. So I don't feel like I need like extra.
This kind of leads me to another question I had. It's actually another Jeff question. He wanted me ask you, what is your starting settings for a low light concert? This is kind of getting nerdy.
Okay,
but I love it.
No. I can definitely tell you that. So 40 watt. I will do like an ISO of 2000 to start with, and that's
pretty
kind of
high, right?
That's pushing it a little bit because you start to get a little bit of like noise, like kind of grainy noise stuff. But I mean, if you kind of underexpose it and then bump the exposure up, and after it, that may be
help
a little that can help you out. That may be a little stupid of me to say, like kind of like abnormal way of doing things to like the editing purists, but that's just what I found. So ISO of like 2000. I'll shoot wide open on the aperture. So if I'm using my 35, it'll be f1.4 or f1.8. And then shutter speed wise, to capture some, like, I like capturing a little motion blur. Yeah. Like, it's important to me to get everything in focus, of course, but like if somebody's doing like a whip with their guitar, like the drummer is like about to come down on the cymbals, like I like getting a little bit of like motion blur with the sticks.
Yeah, you're great at that. There's one at Smith's, so that was like the key shot for me, where it was like you could see like 3 frames of his drumstick. I was like, I love wicked.
Doing that. That's my favorite thing to do is shoot drummers because there's so much movement going on. But so my shutter speed to get that, I'll do like 1/125.
1/125. That's pretty
high,
and
then I'll go. I'll go to like maybe 1/160 or 1/200 if I'm trying to get rid of any motion blur or anything like that. So, but anything under 1/125, everything's going to be kind of blurry.
Yeah,
because I don't necessarily have the most steady hands in the world. So like, yeah. So if you start to get down in the low fraction numbers for shutter speed,
everything's blurry, kind of.
Yeah, well, you just have to be real steady with it. You know what I mean? It's better to have a tripod when you're down that low.
Gotcha. And 40 watts, a pretty dark room as well. Really not that great of lights.
Yeah,
wouldn't you say, kind of?
Typically, it's pretty dark.
Yeah,
like on a Wednesday show or a Thursday show, it's gonna be. They're not gonna use the lights at all. But like if. This may be a different conversation, but lately they haven't had like massive acts come through there.
Yeah.
I feel like so they haven't been using their lights as much. I feel like so maybe they might be slacking a little bit with what they have there. But I've had some good lighting there before. Like I've shot some shows there before where I was like, okay, they've actually like changed the colors tonight. And
wow.
Like some of the spotlights got a little bit brighter than they are. Like, so it's possible, I think, for them to use the lights there, but they seem to never do that. So I don't know what's up
I
with
didn't
that.
think so either. I'd never seen them move or anything.
Yeah, they don't move. They don't move at all.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, so like it's just a matter of them getting brighter and darker and changing colors there, I guess.
Interesting. Okay.
I tell you what, man, that place is classic, of course.
So
Everybody
special.
loves 40 watt, very special. I love shooting there because there's so much history. But like, I really feel like they can do some stuff to
We've had a lot of conversations.
Bring her back a little bit.
On here, I've had a lot of talks about this, and I like know a lot of the people that work there and just love playing there. It's one of my favorite places to play.
Totally.
But like, kind of like you're saying about the national acts. Where are the national acts? Why aren't we getting national acts through in there? I don't understand.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
I think the last, maybe this isn't fair to say, but like the last bill I've seen that really killed it was Hotel Fiction there.
Yeah.
Did 400 tickets. I haven't seen anybody.
And at the time, that's technically a local band.
Yes, technically.
You know what I mean?
I haven't seen. Yeah, it definitely.
Because they just moved to Nashville, so like they were here.
They were still Athens based at the time. You know what I mean? So I just don't get it. I talked about it on here a bunch. I'm not hating. I'm just observing.
No, dude.
I wish they would. You know?
Yeah, it's more of like I want to see that place stay in business and succeed for years to come. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
I think Smiths just did their update in the upstairs room, but that's another thing. Like the basement room.
I don't know much about Smiths. How have they been touring act wise? You know what I mean?
Like the Smiths, the band?
No, Smiths Old Bar.
Oh, Smiths Old Bar. Oh,
yes.
Okay. So the upstairs, they seem to be getting some like middle level bands coming in there. So I think they seem to be doing pretty well. Like because they just spent a lot of money on their lights. So
that's what I imagine.
They obviously have been doing pretty decent. I mean, I don't know. I haven't really like paid super close attention to like the acts lately, but I mean, I haven't necessarily seen anybody that I recognize per se. But it seems like they have a constant flow of people coming in there.
It's kind of crazy,
more so than 40 watt does. You know what I mean? So like way more so than 40 watt does.
Interesting. 40 watt's like non-existent right now.
It seems to just be local stuff. There
yeah,
lately.
like they're like like think about, I don't know how much you've been around Athens, but literally like 2 years ago, every Saturday was like, it'd be like Rainbow Kitten Surprise or like fucking Drive-By Truckers, you know, just name a crazy act. And now I saw him posting on Facebook the other day. It was like, hey, does anybody want to play you in 2 Saturdays from now? It's like, oh my gosh,
that
man,
blows
really?
my mind.
It's crazy, isn't it?
That just tells you everything you need to know. If they're putting out posts asking who wants to play, then
yeah. And like we played there in August. We headlined in August, and I was talking with Bradley, who's a great friend of mine who works there, who does a great job booking the local stuff. That's kind of his thing, and he kills the local bills. They do a great job. But we were talking about playing there, and I was like, all right, we got this band open for us. I was like, who you thinking for headline? He's like, you guys headline. I was like, really? They just needed somebody to headline. I was like, all right, man. It ended up doing great, but it's just crazy. I'm honestly, we're still in the, I guess, aftershock phase because like Georgia Theater is not killing it either.
No, and they're definitely not doing as many shows as they were, but I mean, they still seem to be having some
touring acts.
Some touring acts.
I talked to Colin. I don't know how much you've shot there. Do you know Colin by any chance? He's one of the like sound and owner guys who's really great. He said that the Bills haven't been doing as well as they'd liked, but it's on the come up. He says, I hope.
Yeah,
so I
think so too. Next year's going to be a good.
It's just going to be massive.
Year.
I hope. I hope it's just
I think so.
full strength. Because honestly, we're probably not at full strength. I guess.
No, it doesn't seem like
even though it feels like we should be by now. You know?
I mean, we've been doing shows for the last 6 months or so.
Yeah,
so
a good while.
It's definitely seems to be like relatively close to normal again.
Yeah,
but shows wise,
maybe it's a booking thing. You know what I mean? Like
could be.
These are big bands, like they just have to book shit out 5-6 months to get their money's worth. You know what I mean? So I don't know. Yeah, but I look forward to it because the plan for when I started the show was to I was just gonna look at the Georgia Theater schedule and do pretty much what you do, like when the dirty governors and the stews and when people come to town, just like DM, like, yo, you guys want to stop by for a podcast for your show tonight? And that kind of hasn't been able to happen because, you know, not as many like Faye Webster's not stopping by here, you know what I'm saying? But like I'm trying to
one day, man.
One day
you'll get there.
I want to get the stews on here. Haven't you tried the stew some?
Yeah, dude. So Blake Dobbs, their Garrett guitarist,
blonde
one
hair?
of the guitarists. Yeah, he's got blonde hair. He's Wyatt, their drummer, has blonde hair as well, but his hair's a little bit longer. So Blake hit me up, same kind of deal. He's seen my work around and everything. They wanted to work with me, and so I was stoked about that. I mean, they're one of the first few people to like actually hit me up to come do their stuff. You know what I mean? Because I've been doing so much of hitting other people up. But
keep doing it, man.
I'm not going to stop that. That's how I've been getting most of my work, so I'm going to keep doing that. But yeah, so it was fun. They did a show at Smith's with 87 Nights and Supper Club.
I've heard of 87 Nights.
Yeah, they're great. They're just kind of like a, you know, super fun, like kind of rock band, kind of vintage style rock band.
Sick.
I did some photos for them too at that show that came out great. But so my first show with the Stews was at Smith's recently and did great with
upstairs?
That. Yep, upstairs.
Nice.
And they were the headliner, which was pretty dope.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah,
from Auburn.
Yeah, they're from Auburn.
Crazy, bro.
They're killing it, man. They do great. But so I did that show with them, and then that same weekend they were going back to Auburn. And 87 Nights was doing this like house party. And I didn't have anything going on that weekend, so Blake was like, "Yeah, we're going back to Auburn tomorrow, and there's a show this weekend that 87 Nights is doing. You should come down and hang out, and we can do promo photos and stuff like that." So I ended up like going down there with them, and we hung out. Basically, did the Smith show, and then did promo photos the next day, and then the 87 Nights show again, and I basically spent the whole weekend with them, and that was.
I'd love to see these promo shots. Excuse me, because I've seen a lot of stuff they posted. I wonder which ones are you. I haven't particularly noticed. They're murdering it though, man.
They really
don't hear about many bands coming out of Auburn and like selling a lot of tickets at Smith's Old Bar. You know what I mean? And like getting on tour, or what are they on? Vagabonds tour?
Yeah, so I'm gonna be out on all of those.
Are you
dates
shooting those with them?
Yeah, so Luke Washburn is helping them out with booking, and I think he helps Hotel Fiction out occasionally with booking as well.
Cool.
So he hit me up recently. We met at the Smith show with the Stews, and he hit me up recently and was like, "Hey man, so here's the deal. We saw I shot for the Vagabonds. This is another story we can talk about if you want to. But at Georgia Theater also this year, and that was a weird, like, they just hit me up randomly and was like, "Hey, come out and shoot the show." All right,
that's sick, man.
So I did that, but so that's how they know who I am. But Luke hit me up and was like, "Hey man, so this company, Marshwear, it's a clothing company, like a fishing kind of clothing, outdoor clothing company. They're sponsoring 12 dates for the Stews and the Vagabonds together, and we would love to have you come and do that. Marshwear is gonna give you a budget to work with, and you can come out and do that. So I'm gonna do that. We worked that out, and
that's sick, dude.
Yeah, so that starts next week. It's a tour kind of. So it's like it's 12 tour dates, but they're like spread out over the next 4 months. So like next week for December we have 4.
Gotcha.
And then January there's 4, and February there's 4. So they're like splitting them up over.
I guess this is a smart way to do it without having to stay on the road. You know, like
sure,
you can do the weekend warrior kind of thing. Which I
definitely.
love.
So next week that's the first run of shows.
Where are y'all striking out to? That's exciting.
Yeah. So I think the first night is Raleigh, North Carolina, and then I know we're going to Richmond. This may not be the right order. So Raleigh, Richmond. There's another city in North Carolina.
Maybe Charlotte. Or
Charlotte, yeah.
Charlotte.
Raleigh, Charlotte, and Richmond, and then we're going to Birmingham on Sunday of next week. So quick little 4-day run with them.
That's
but
sick, dude.
The cool thing is both of them are paying me to be there. So I'm shooting for both bands.
So So the Marsh Company, I thought they were funding it. Are they funding pictures of their clothes?
They're funding the tour itself, and they created a budget for like photos and videos as well.
That's crazy, dude. That's sick.
So like part of the deal is, of course, that I need to get like, cool like candid photos of them like putting the hats on or getting one of the jackets on or something like, cool stuff of them wearing the merch. And they have some like collabs merch stuff as well. So I need to place an emphasis on trying to get product placement and some photos here and there, but
I'm sure that won't be tough.
No, not at all.
Yeah,
That'll be super easy.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was kind of a cool deal. So Marshwear has a budget, and then both the bands are paying me a little money as well. So
good for you, man. That's exciting. That's nice to be on tour with two popping bands right now.
Yeah, dude, that's cool. Awesome. I mean, the Vagabonds are sick. They're awesome, and so the Stews are so cool live. Huh? They really have so much energy, man, and like. They're all very talented.
I'm very excited about them because you just don't hear about bands from Auburn just murdering it. Like everybody knows who they are kind of right now. And like I was listening to 9 to 5 today. Do you know that song? Mm-hmm. I'm like a pretty new fan. I'm like, okay, this is pretty sick. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they can put on a good show.
Yeah,
that's obviously huge for me. I love that.
Shit.
So.
When they come to Athens, I want to try to get them on here. I'm gonna
so they in March of next year they're gonna play a warehouse show.
Yeah, I love to hear that.
Yeah, I think it's like March 24th or something like that. So it'll be Vagabonds and Stews at the warehouse. So 100%, you got to come to that.
Can't wait.
That'll be a fucking party. I'm just stoked to be able to shoot at that place again. Because after I did that show with you, I was like, damn, this place is some of the honestly some of the nicest lights I've seen in a long time.
It really is, man. I think it blows 40-watt Smiths, and honestly, to me, Georgia Theater
gives Georgia Theater a run. Of course, Georgia Theater is like a theater, so it's different and set up really nicely. But like for I don't know. That place is cool. They have a really cool setup for sure.
Yeah, man, and they got some good bands coming through, so I'm excited about it. So
yeah, that's gonna be cool. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that run. That's gonna be fun.
Interesting. Where was I gonna go with that? I had something I was gonna ask you. I lost my train of thought.
That's all right.
Shit, I guess it must not have been important. When you're on the road with them, that's nice that they're both paying you, man. See, because like it seems like such a far cry. Like our current tours we're doing, we're not like, I don't think anybody's making like a killing right now per se, but it's like. We're barely making enough to like keep us going, so it's like bringing somebody else would just be a stretch. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. And I understand that too with working with being in a local scene. Like nobody's made of money. Like nobody is making a fuckload of money. You know what I mean? Like there's nobody that's making
millionaires.
Yeah, or 100,000aires. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like
yes.
It's just one of those things. So like I keep that in mind with pricing and stuff like that. So I try not to price people out, but I also try to make it to where it makes sense for me. So
sustainable.
Of course, one day the goal is to get to a point where I'm working with people that have bigger budgets and stuff like that. But like that's in the future. I want to get to that point. So, but I'm happy with where I'm at right now. I can make it work, and
you're on like the same paths as like the bands you're playing with. You know what I mean? Because like like the Stews or whoever is like trying to take that step to the next size artist as well as you. And honestly, I imagine just like prediction wise, I imagine you'll end up getting taken along with them. Like as the Stews get bigger, you'll just be their guy.
I mean, that's the goal for me is to get. I like the local scene because of that. I like working with local bands because of that. Because I feel like I'm also just trying to like. Build something right now. And so like I want to be with people that also are trying to build something. And I feel like that creates like a bond, you know what I mean? And like everybody's working for something, and everybody's trying to get to the same place, and we can all work together, and it's all like a cohesive like
because when you watch all the music documentaries and it's like U2 or like the big bands that have made it or whatever, they're always like, this my photographer has been with us for 30 years, you know what I mean? From the beginning. Those are the people you want to hang around with.
That's the goal, man. I want to still be working with some of the people I'm working with right now. You know what I mean? Like
that's cool, man.
Like if somebody makes it out of Georgia, you know what I mean? Like I do hope that I get to go with them, and I get to document that for them, and like then we can all look back and be like, yeah, remember when we were all doing the Athens stuff? And Look at all these photos from 40 Watt. And now we're playing these fucking huge venues all over the nation. Like that would be that's glamorous, of course, and like
no, dude, that's perfect.
I would love for that to happen.
You'll probably look back at the 40 Watt pictures and be like, man, I sucked. And they'll be looking back at the concert footage and like, man, we sucked. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
You just grow together.
Right, exactly. And that's I think a really cool part of this. You know what I mean?
That's exciting, man. You're thinking about this shit deep, bro. Like if I didn't know you that well, like, or I just don't think every photographer's thinking, no, I'm gonna try to build this. You know what I mean? Like I'm gonna try to do this, like work with small bands and work our way up and build something as a photographer. Because I don't know, I just never thought of it that way. So that's cool,
right?
Man.
And I mean, that's just how I have interpreted all of this. That's how I feel like that's the way I feel is the right way to do things. You know what I mean? Man. I don't have like a mentor or anything like that that I can call upon and ask questions. Some huge concert photographer that's made it, and like I can just call up and say, hey, how do I do this, or what do I need to do next? Like I don't have that. Like and you can't go on YouTube and be like, how do I become a big time photographer? Like it's impossible. You can't do that. There's no blueprint. Template. You know what I mean? So like, whatever I'm doing, I'm working off my gut feeling most of the time. Like everything I'm doing is just like, I think I should be doing this, so I'm going to go do it.
I love that, man. Dude, honestly, that's some of the best stuff because like, you just know you're doing it for the right reasons when there's no template for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
It's just, you know what you're doing. Like Jeff's always saying, like you can't, there's no like front man class. You know what I'm saying? When we're talking about bands, like you've either got it or you don't, or there's no, I don't know, anything, but photographer, concert photographer class.
You can look up how to play an instrument and you can learn how to play an instrument, but you also have to have like the
X factor kind of thing. Yeah.
There's a lot more to it than that. You know what I mean?
Man. That's fascinating, dude. Well,
so
what was I going to say? I think it's about where we've been and how long we've been in this guy. 75 minutes. Dude, nice. That's a good one, dude.
Time's flying.
Didn't it fly?
Yeah, totally.
Well, I was going to usually my closing notes is like, tell me what you're kind of trying to do in the next 3 or 4 years, like where you'd like to be. But honestly, I feel like we've kind of already answered it. So if you want to elaborate on it a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the long and short of it is eventually, like over the next few years, I really hope that I can kind of, start touring more and doing more press shoots for people and take that kind of next step to the bigger venues and bigger tours and that kind of stuff. Yeah. Hey. Maybe one day.
Man. It's coming.
Maybe one day. I would love to do that. That would be crazy. Arena stuff's a whole different ballgame, man. That's like a huge production. But no, I just hope I'm still doing this in 4 years, to be honest with you. I just want to still be taking photos at shows and, hopefully I'm touring with some fucking huge band one day.
Some bands that you've built a rapport with.
Yeah, totally.
The years.
Yeah, hopefully so. I mean, and I feel like once bands start to get kind of big like that, it becomes like a business, and you have employees, and you have a manager and a booking agent, all kinds of stuff like that. And I think photographers are definitely part of that team. So that's my goal, is to get on to somebody's team, or maybe 2 or 3 different bands' teams, and
it might become a little more official then. You know what I mean?
Sure, definitely, and like, then I can plan out my year a little bit better. And like, I know, like if I'm working with like 3 bands this year, like so to speak, you know what I mean? And they all have tours going on. I can be gone for, 6-7 months out of the year. And then the rest of the year I can just chill.
That's crazy, dude. That'd be awesome, wouldn't it?
That would be incredible.
Oh, fucking January to March, I'm going out with the Vagabonds, and then April through September, I'm going out with whoever.
I'm all about making plans and like planning things out like that. So like to be able to get to a point where I can like start January and be like, all right, this tour is coming up in a few months, and I can prepare for that, and then I know I'm going to have another one after that, and like that would be fantastic. That's
the
definitely
dream, man.
The goal.
I like that.
I mean, I guess eventually one day, once I get tired of the touring stuff, I mean, I think it would be great to have my own like photo studio one day.
Yeah.
Or just to have some type of like studio space that I can work and live at, like a warehouse type thing, where I can like live at the studio and work out of the studio and have this huge room that people can film videos at. And
that's the retirement phase, right?
Yeah, I guess so.
When the road wears you down.
Totally, yeah. That's I've definitely thought about that a lot. So like awesome. I would love to have my own like studio space one day. I mean, that's not necessarily the nature of the work that I do right now, but eventually if I'm going to settle down and, stop touring one day, then
I think everybody does, man. Like you just,
of course.
I just don't think anybody wants to do it forever. You know what I mean?
No, I mean, there's definitely people that do it, and it takes a special person to do that well into your 30s and 40s. But like,
built different.
I would be so stoked if I could still be doing this when I have kids one day.
That's
you know what I mean?
dude.
That would be crazy.
Good for you, man. Well, dude, I had a great time on here. Honestly,
Thank you so much, man.
I wrote a bunch of stuff down because I just wanted to be ready. Like my usual questions wouldn't work. You know what I mean? I can't be like, so when did you start playing guitar?
Like
you know
I said, totally just screwed up the whole thing, how you do things. But no, I appreciate it, man. I thank you so much for having me on here.
Anytime, man.
I was kind of worried about talking about myself for an hour, but I think it went
It's
pretty
good for
well,
the soul, man.
So,
You did a great job. You're natural. You're
cool,
natural.
man. Thanks.
Well, thank you guys for tuning in. If you made it this far, if you made it 79 minutes in, I'm proud of that, and I appreciate that. I want you to go check out Garrett on Instagram. What's your name on Instagram now?
All right, so the new Instagram name is Garrett.Cardoso, and that's it.
Got it. Go give it a follow. This is your man for photography. Give him a shout. Your website. Tell me your website name.
That, very similar.
www.garrettcardoso.com. Simple. I love it, man.
Yes,
Go give him a follow. Check him out. If you're a band in town, you need to shoot with this guy. He's going to be the man. Don't worry about it.
Hell yeah.
And thank you for watching. This has been the Jameson on the Rocks podcast. Give us a follow on Instagram at Jameson_OTR. Give us a subscribe on YouTube if you'd like to watch videos. We post clips. We post short clips. We post behind the scenes. We post everything. So yeah, just go give us a follow. I appreciate you listening in this far. Thank you so much. Let's give him a wave for the thumbnail.
Peace, y'all.
See ya. Bye.